All right, and we are live. Welcome, everybody, to Happy Crumpin' Wargaming. There is a lot going on in the new edition of Warhammer 40,000. I have my dear friend, Math Wizard, Felix Matheson. Did I say your last name correctly, or did I butcher that?
Almost. Matheisen.
Matheisen, forgive me! And we are going to be going through all the new super duper cool things in 10th edition. Today we're talking about the Orks. Orcs are a little bit of a mixed bag. They are not bad. Anyone who's telling you they're bad is wrong. However, they are different, and we are going to talk about how they are different in 10th edition from 9th edition. Felix, do you have anything you want to say before we get running?
I did have a stream yesterday to explain some of this, and as we've been saying now, we're a different army. We're not the kill, go murder army we were in 9th edition. That's not going to happen. We're a bit more tanky, and we're going to have to play scoring. So just keep that in mind when we go through all of these units and tactics.
Yeah, that's actually a really good thing you just brought up, because one really big important thing about 10th edition, because I've played several games now as we've been preparing, it is not about killing the enemy anymore. This edition is about playing the game and playing the mission. So that's really important to keep in mind as we go through all this, because as you may notice, as we go talk about a bunch, Orcs' damage potential is actually a lot less than you might expect compared to a lot of other armies, but it's not necessarily a bad thing either. So let's just go ahead and get started, man. The way we're going to do this is we have our S tier, which are the best units in the army, units that you'll probably see every army take, and if you don't see them, it's because that army has a very, very specific build in mind. A tier is the units that can fit into literally any army, and you basically always want them because they're just good freaking units. B tier are kind of similar to A, to be honest with you. They're just maybe the units that you're going to take because you're going to take them. Maybe not just because they're amazing, but just because, well, you have to have those units. C tier are units that are going to be, well, you're taking them because you like them or they fill a very specific role in your list. And then D tier, which we probably renamed to Luta tier,
Either Luta tier or don't tier, something like that.
Yeah, right. D tier units just are not great, and it's a swing whether it's from points or from the actual, I don't know, way they operate. All right, man. So we got the first guy coming up. Oh, wait. We wanted to mention a few things first. Go ahead. You take it away.
Right. So we do have detachment rule, we do have stratagems, and we do have enhancements. So let's go quickly over those. Detachment rule, it's good. It's basically all the Goths minus the strength, so we get exploding 6s in combat.
Yep.
Great. It's like a +1 to hit, but a little bit better because it can't be modified away, and it can spike, which means if you roll 2 dice, you can actually get 3 hits.
Yeah.
And let's go to the stratagems quickly, because we looked at them, and
I think I could just pull them up here.
Yes.
Let me.
So we'll start with Kareen, and boy, do we love Kareen. It's gotten buffed. It's really good. So I know one of the first things you and I looked at was, can we do this on a Stompa and just win the game? We'll get to there. We get to that, but no. So Kareen, you're still the same. It's on a vehicle. And it's gotta have to explode, so you gotta roll that 6 first. But now it's a normal move. We're not moving 6 inches, we're doing a normal move, and we can do it as a fallback move and in any direction we want, and we can even do it out of combat as fallback. So this is great for repositioning if your transport gets popped. And yeah, basically you can even do even more mortal wound tricks, and with trucks are moving, is it 12 still?
Yeah, trucks are still 12.
Yes. So imagine if your truck gets popped, if it's the charge phase and it explodes, you can move it 12 inches, get really close to the enemy, and be ready for your turn. Or just in the shooting phase, just run and hide.
I really like the fact that you could just use it when you are in melee now. Really, really big deal.
Yes. Very big.
So yeah, Kareen's awesome. 1 CP, super growth. What's our next one?
Orks is never beaten. This one we talked about in the faction focus. Fight on death, it's great. 2 CP, worth it.
On point.
Works on a whole unit. So yeah.
Love it. All right, next one.
Unbridled Carnage.
Big winner.
Exploding 5s.
Big winner.
Big winner. I used this a lot in 9th edition. I was one of those who played with 4 CP start, and I love to use Unbridled Carnage a lot. Now it's 1 CP.
Now, Felix, would you do me a favor real quick and just read the wording? Because is it exploding 5s, or is it 5s count as critical hits?
That is true. So there's 5 at critical hit. However, we
Why
don't
is
have
that a bigger deal?
because this can trigger with other rules. Now we don't have too many of those, but it can trigger with other rules.
So, for example, just a little preview, everyone. Makari will give you lethal hits, which is auto wounds. So now suddenly, if you have a unit of beast snaggas next to Makari during the WA, they're exploding and auto wounding on 5s and 6s. So when I said orcs aren't as lethal, they're not. But that doesn't mean they can't snack.
We have a tactics. We do.
We can.
Then we have my favorite one are the snails. You put it on any orc unit that's not a vehicle and not a Gretchin, and you get
Amazing.
This is in shooting phase or in fight phase, and you get -1 to wound during that phase. Amazing.
Absolutely amazing. And we'll go through how that stacks with some of the units in a little bit.
Yep.
Unbelievable, though. All right.
Then we have a Lackbuster one, a mob rule for 1 CP. You target a mob unit with 10 or more models and not below half strength until the end of phase, while that unit is within 6 inches of, while any infantry unit is within 6 of that mob unit. Our orc infantry can be selected to target those stratagems, even if they are battle shocked. This is just pay 1 extra CP to use a stratagem and super situational and not gonna come up that often.
I don't think you're ever gonna use it, to be honest with you.
No, definitely not.
But
that's
okay,
fine
because
we have the good one. Here we go. This is amazing. So what this is you select any orc infantry unit from your army, and you do this at the start of the move phase, and you get +1 to advance and +2 to charge. Super strong for 1 CP.
Is it only +1 to advance? I thought it was +2 to advance.
Oh, I said +2, I think. +2 to advance and charge, yeah. Amazing.
Dave Mert came out here and he just retracted his message, but it's okay. I read it. I saw it. It was funny. Oh, there it is. He put it back in. He's gonna spend money based on this tier list, huh? We're gonna make sure you spend your money intelligently, sir. So we love you and appreciate your attention, sir.
There we go. Buy 5 Stompas. You heard it here for.
Yes. Don't buy 2 size Stompas.
Don't. I'm joking. All right, and then we have the enhancements. Now, now we have the points. We'll start with your favorite. Follow me, lads. So this is on any orc model, and you get +2 to move for 25 points.
It's a very big deal because suddenly you have a unit of beast snaggas that are moving 6 and they're getting out of a truck. So they have effectively a 9-inch move with an advance. Well, now they suddenly have an 11-inch move with an advance. And then if you're doing your Here We Go on them, they're going to get, what is it, +2 to the advance, and then +2 to the charge.
Yeah.
So suddenly you have a unit that's getting out of a truck, not even getting out of a truck necessarily, but that's just clearing the entire board in 1 turn, and they should not be able to do that. I understand why not everyone is so hyped on our enhancements, and I do actually think our enhancements kind of are on the lower end, even though we do have the best stratagems that I've seen.
Yes.
But this one is very useful. You can put it on the squig hogs to get them to a better move, because remember, squig hogs cannot be modified their movement characteristics. There's just a lot of utility. If you're gonna run mega Nobz, you can do it on them. If you're going to be running lots of Nobz, which hint, I think you will be, you can really get your Nobz up the battlefield with it. So there's just so much utility from this enhancement, and it's the only one I actually really like. So
I have one I really like as well. That's the Head Wampas Kill Chopper.
Sure.
That's what this is. You put it on a orc model, and while you make melee attacks, unless it's extra attack weapons, you have devastating wounds. Now, what devastating wounds is a critical wound, so wound roll of 6 becomes mortar wounds instead. Now, we're going to go through units, but this stacks quite a lot with the anti keyword, which makes, if you have anti 4+, a 4+ wound roll becomes a critical wound, so devastating wounds. We'll go over this, but it's going to be good on some Snagga stuff.
Yeah. And then the other 2 enhancements kind of like,
Kind of brutal is a fallback and charge, not amazing.
Maybe useful-ish.
Yeah, then we have a super cyborg body, which is this is going to be nuts because it's a great fucking ability. It's a great ability. You give an orc character a 4+ feeling pain.
We would have killed for this last edition, but in this edition,
we don't care.
You just don't care about it.
Good. A, you're having units attached, so that already saves them, and B, the units that would want it already have it. and we'll get to it. But there's no unit that really wants this, not badly.
Exactly. All right, so there you go. We got our enhancements. We got our strats, guys. Our strats are the best in the game right now. Our enhancements are pretty lackluster, but we do have some really cool things coming up. We will some of these models. We have a lot of units in this codex, so to make sure that this is not a 7 hour long video, the things that suck, we're just going to let you know they suck. And if you have a question, we'll be happy to answer, but we're going to kind of move through the things that suck. All right, is that fair? Is that fair to say, Felix?
Absolutely.
Right.
So let's get started. Let's get right into this with the Beast Boss on Quickstorm.
So this was my favorite dude from the last edition, and in the current edition, he is pretty freaking awesome.
Yes.
I think he goes up to the A tier pretty easily, personally.
I agree. A
He's not,
tier is probably.
he is no longer he is now a monster, right? And
Yes.
what that means is that you can't hide him. However, he is compensated with a toughness of 10, a 5-up invuln, and a 4-up feel no pain. So
Yeah.
the math on this guy is astronomical. If you use the -1 to wound strat on him, it's going to be pretty dang hard to kill him. The combo is that you're going to be running a unit of beast snaggas nearby that's going to have a pain boss in it, who's going to be healing him 3 flat wounds every turn. And that where it just works really well. So the squig boss, he's not the killing death machine that he used to be. Now he's more of a buffing piece because he's going to give reroll charges to everyone. I think he's really good, really usable, and he's very survivable.
Yeah, he's going to give reroll charges to snag units, and then he has a one. He can be targeted with the heroic intervention, which is now a charge. If you're within 6, you can do that, but he can do it for 1 CP. If we look at the actual math, I'll post the links to all the Excel sheets after this. His trading potential is not the best. As we said, he's not a fighting piece anymore. He's more of a reactive piece and buffing piece. He doesn't trade his points very well against not really any target. His damage is decent. He can do about, with the Beast Choppa, during WoG, he can do about 8 damage to a knight. But looking at the points per point killed, it's not looking the absolute best. Here we go, some data.
Yeah, I'm just loading it up for us. So this is the beast boss right here. So when we look at his stats, oh, sorry guys, there's a little delay, so we might be moving a little bit faster than what you're seeing. So when we look at this little stat line right here, you guys can see how much damage he's generally going to be putting out. He's not the death machine that he was, but he is actually, I think he's a pretty good target for the Edwapa's enhancement, don't you think?
Yes, with the anti-keyword, he can be quite decent on it. I do have another unit that's my personal favorite for it.
Fair enough.
But it's not bad. Overall, in an A tier, he's a good unit.
Yeah, totally. Super good tier. All right, cool. Let's go on to, and you talk more about this guy because he's your dude. Where's this boy going?
Oh, let's see. There we go, Mr. Beast Boss. He's going straight up to S tier, in my opinion.
Man, I pretty much agree with you. I don't see how you're not going to run him, to be honest with you.
I'm gonna run 3 of them, and he's gonna. I'm not even joking. I'm gonna run 3. That's just how it is.
Yep.
So the reasoning for this is his trading potential with the math is nuts. He does more damage to knights than the beast boss on Squigsor. And this is because when you run him with Snagga boys, he becomes part of that unit and shares the ability. So he gets a hit reroll versus monsters and vehicles. Now, if you look at his weapons, he has the Snagga Claw, which is a fewer attacks and bigger strength weapon. And then he has the Beast Choppa. And you're going to use the Beast Choppa with more attacks because you're going to be hitting on 2s with exploding 6s.
Yep.
And technically going to hit on 1+ because he gives +1 to hit as well. So he's always going to hit on 2s pretty much. And when he does that and you start to wound, he wounds on 4+ with the anti keyword. And each 4+ in that case is going to be 2 mortar wounds.
Because he gets devastating wounds when he charges.
Yes.
He's freaking awesome.
He is amazing.
Yeah.
So looking at the numbers, I believe he averages just above 8 damage to a knight with WoG and Snaggas. Keep in mind this before the Snaggas even start to hit. This is him alone.
And that's also not talking about like his explosions or his lethal hits that he
exactly.
Too, so.
Exactly. No, he's doing a lot of his own and he's cheap as well. I think he's 80 points. Yeah, 80.
Yep, he's super good. I like him a lot. I agree.
Yep. And looking at
sorry.
the PPP, the points per point killed, pretty much all green. He's trading pretty well. Trading often just
Let me
a little.
show people this one.
Yes.
This is the beast boss right here.
So points per point kill is how many points you spend to kill the points of them. You want a low number here. We can see the green ones are better, the red ones are worse. And staying around 1 point between 0.5 and 1.5 is a great place to be. And he's around that 0.9 mark.
I was on the damage. Sorry, while you're talking about that, I probably confused people. I need to be on the points PPP. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
So now we're on the PPP here. Just so you guys can see, like, his stats. He actually does trade really well. He's one of the few guys in our codex who's trading really, really well. So
yeah, he's trading well into basically every possible target.
So, and I don't think we're going to switch to the spreadsheets for every single data sheet. I know Felix here is going to be very kind, and we'll link you to all of his social media, and we're going to drop all of the access to these spreadsheets. Is that correct?
Yeah.
But for the big ones like these dudes, we'll definitely show them, because that's impressive.
Yeah.
All right. Pain boss.
Yeah. Also, I want to add to Beast Boss. He has a 6-up Phenol Pain. If there's one unit I would put Cyborg Body on, it might be this guy. Just be annoying. If I have like a few spare points laying over, because we have with the new edition, it's hard to build a list because you might end up with some spare points, and this is one of the guys I would put some spare points in.
Fair enough. All right, then we're looking at our Pain boss. This dude is freaking awesome. I love him. I'm throwing him an A.
Yeah, I agree. I will say I would only run this guy if I run a Beast Boss on Squigazor or if I run a Mossrog.
You know what? I disagree with you. I don't think you're necessarily incorrect, but I have a disagreement because just playing the game right now, being able to regenerate once per game D3 Snagga boys, you can steal that objective when you need to. It's a really big deal. And he gets the unit of Beast Snaggas a 5-up Phono Pain instead of a 6-up. That is very freaking strong. He's good.
That's fair.
I see a lot of use for him, and I think I'd be running him even without the squig bosses. Although I think I'm going to be running the squig bosses.
No, he just gets even more strong when you run the squig boss as well.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and skip the Runt Herd because he's just part of the Gretchin now. He's not an individual character anymore.
Yeah, let's throw him like in the bottom.
Yeah. So we'll just kind of leave him there for right now. Then we got a Battle Wagon.
The Battle Wagon, I would say B tier.
You know, I agree. I think he lost a step. He's expensive now. Like, he costs points.
185.
He's pretty dang expensive. I am not necessarily always going to be running one of those Battle Wagons like I used to be.
So he is struggling because now War Gear is included in the cost, basically, and we never really wanted much of the War Gear anyways.
No. Now, one thing that we were talking about, and this is just a little strategic talk process. If I get too into the weeds, stop me, bud. But one of the things that I was really excited about originally was the concept of the firing deck 22. Load up like 22 Lootas or 22 whatevers and just shoot them all out of the Battle Wagon, give them +1 to hit. I think that plan is gone because all of our units rely on their datasheet abilities, which you can't use when they're inside the Battle Wagon because it counts as the Battle Wagon and being the one that's shooting the gun. So I think the dreams of the 22 firing deck for competitive play is kind of out. Now, I could see you running 2 huge units of Burna Boys in there and just having a flaming wagon for fun. No problems with that. But I think competitively, the idea of using it as a gunship is out.
The most interesting part about the Battle Wagon is that it has Armor of Contempt, so it negates its 1 AP. That's the interesting part about it.
Yep. And he's just too expensive to be a launching deck. Like we used to use him just to deliver troops. I think he's too expensive for that.
No, I agree. And looking at the points, why would you not run a Hunter Rig instead?
Yeah. All right. Next bad boy looks like a Morkanaut.
I would say C tier.
Yeah, he's not that good. And as you'll see when we get back a little bit later, I might have a different opinion of his brother. But the Morkanaut himself, he just doesn't trade correctly. It's during the wall phase he gets +1 to hit to his shooting, which hopefully you don't have a -1 to deal with. But so that means he's going to be efficient for one turn a game.
Yeah, and
I just don't see it.
Looking at his shooting, just pure damage output against different targets. You guys can watch this in the sheet when we release that. It's not great. it's
Yeah.
really bad. He has one weapon that's doing okay during WoW, and that's the custom Mega Zappa. The rest, nothing. And the PPP is pretty awful.
And one thing you guys always have to remember, just from having played 10th edition, it's exceptionally easy to get cover now. So if you have massive shots at AP1, Terminators are going to be saving on 2-ups. All your other Marine equivalents are going to be saving on 3s because it's very easy to get cover right now.
Yep.
It's almost
Right.
impossible not to have cover. All right.
Uh,
Now we got a Mega Boss with a custom force field.
a Mega Mech, yeah.
Mega Mech with a custom force field. I
Yeah,
actually like this guy.
I agree. And it's for the Mega Nobz, of course, and you would need to run a 5-man unit
So if
to get the value.
so if you're gonna run Mega Knobs, you're gonna run the Big Mech with them.
Yeah.
You just
I
will.
would say, yeah, beater, and that's just because he has one specific style he can go into, and it's an expensive one.
Mhm.
And the issue is that it's just expensive, and if they bring mortar wounds, it's a bad trade for you.
Yeah. Now he is resurrecting one Mega Knob a turn, is that right?
Yes, correct.
Which is cool, which does make it like a legit I can hold this objective unit. But with the low attack characteristics that they have, and they have really bad shooting now, I don't think they're that great. But if you are going to run them in that combo, I think the combo of the Mega Mech with them actually makes them a fairly decent unit.
Yeah. That's pretty much about it. And with the -1 wound, of course, yeah.
Yep.
He's just making them tankier. Right. Makari we can skip because he's part of Gas.
We'll just do Gaz down. What do you think about
Sure.
Gaz?
I was really hyped, and then I got really average. B.
All right. I think he's a B. I do think he's good, and I'm not talking crap about him. With his Makari ability, I could understand the argument for an A. If you're running him, just so you know, he does hit and wound everything in the game on 2s, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But Mega Knobs just aren't good. They're not nightmarishly bad. They're just not good, and he can only be run with Mega Knobs, which is a problem. If you could run this guy with boys or beast Snaggas, dude, I'd be taking him every single game for
100%, 100%. The problem is if you want to run him with a battle wagon, I think they're gonna need to FQ this because of the wagon wording. But he and Makari should be taking 18 slots as per that wording.
Yeah,
which means you can run
they
him.
Count,
and
they count as
2
one unit. They count as one
Yes.
model. So yeah, I think it is actually fair.
Yeah.
And they already released the 1-inch deployment thing from disembarkment.
Yeah, but he can be in the wagon with 2 Mega Knobs. The problem is that's not enough. He gets a lot of his bonuses while he's leading a unit. So if those 2 Mega Knobs go, the +1 to hit and wound,
Bye.
gone.
And he doesn't get the reroll hits anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
Makari does give you the 12-inch lethal hits during the WoW phase, which is a turn where you can kill things.
Yes.
But I don't think it's enough to be like, oh, he's going to be in the list. But I understand that he will be in some list, and I don't fault people for taking him.
He's not bad, but he's going to be very matchup dependent.
He is a lot cheaper, which is cool.
Yes, but I'm going to put him top on B. Yeah, top of B. That should be his spot permanently.
Now we have the guys who I was super excited for, and then I saw the points.
Yeah.
We've got the Squidcock boys.
The stats were so amazing, and then the points came. I need to playtest them, but they're basically 36 points a model now.
Yeah.
Which they have a great ability though, which is they can not get minus movement or minus charge, and that's super important with Barbagons existing and so on.
Yeah.
The question is if they're worth their points and if they can help us score points.
They do hit fairly hard, and especially when you run that Smash Knob with them. We might as well talk about the Smash Knob right now as well.
Yeah. The kill shot on the Smash Knob is nuts. It's a great target for it, and I think he averages about 8.6 damage to a knight with it, with just his chopper.
Because remember, guys, when that Smash Knob charges, he goes to anti-vehicle monster 3-up, which is a really, really cool thing. And so yeah, we like them. They're good. They are actually quite tough because they have that 5-up Fiona Pay now, which is actually kind of a big deal. But they're expensive. They're real expensive, and that kind of took the wind out of their sails.
Problem for me is also with the lists I'm making right now. I'm having a lot of 1 wound models, and if I would trucks, and if I would chuck these guys in, it's like now they have a place to shoot their damage 3 guns.
Which damage 3 guns actually aren't necessarily the best end of them, just because they do have that 5 up Fiona Pain. But
damage 2 is probably the best, yeah.
Yeah, damage 2 is probably where we'll look closer. Okay, cool. So that's them. And then we have the funniest meme in existence, who is basically not really a meme right now. So,
here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Zodgrod Ward Snagga. I've had this guy. I built him together, and he's been sitting with my models unpainted since the release of him. I'm gonna paint him now.
Dude, he's got the best buff of any leader in the entire game.
Yes.
So what he does is he adds +1 to hit, +1 to wound, a scout 9 movement, and makes the unit -1 to hit or -1 to wound when he's leading them. And in the wall phase, he adds +6 inches to the movement of said unit. The problem is that unit is Gretchin, which is the worst unit in the game. But
we're gonna get to that. But I love this guy, and also remember that the buffs apply to him as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard for precision snipe because he will be -1 to wound, and then he's hitting with +1 to hit and +1 to wound. The numbers look really good on him.
He's actually a combat character.
Yes, he hits hard. It was a 9th too, but we just didn't take him because. But now he hits super hard. This is strength 7 with +1 to wound, -2 AP, which is quite rare now actually, and damage 2.
And so here's the combo I see for a Zodrog right now. Okay, bear with me, everyone. You take him with a unit of Gretchin. Then these Gretchin get a 9-inch scout move. You could even take them in a truck if you want, because then the truck would get a 9-inch scout move. They get out of the truck 3 inches, and then they're going to move and advance, and they're going to movement block the entire army of your opponent into their deployment zone turn 1, which actually is a real strategy that can screw up someone's game in a very big way.
So a big thing about this is Knight armies right now, as far as I've seen, they have no fallback and shoot the charge.
There's very little of it. There's very little of it.
Which means
there's individual units, but yeah.
These guys are denying movement. I'm taking Zodgrod with a unit of 22 grots, which means 20 grots and 2 grunt turrets, because you don't have a choice. That unit with Zodgrod will be 170 points, and that is 24 wounds they got to chew through before they get to Zodgrod.
And the reality is, guys, you're essentially trading a 170 point unit to make it so your opponent can't play turn 1.
Yeah, this is about scoring, and if they can't move up, they can't score turn 2.
It's actually awesome.
Yeah, and say if you have commandos ready as well, and if you go first, you call Wog. These guys scout move 9, then they normal move 12, and you can advance them, so you're already moving 21 inches and a d6 advance, and then you can charge.
It's pretty freaking sick.
It's amazing. And also, nobody can trade well into Gross with a 5-up involved. It's just not happening.
This is a little out of order, but let's just go ahead and finish all these characters here real quick. We have a war boss. A war boss is actually, I think, quite good. He's never going to be leading boys, though. He's going to be leading the Nobz.
Yeah. I'll say 8 here.
Yep, I would say too, because Nobz, as you'll see, is amazing. The reason why he's really good is that when he's attached to Nob units, guys, the Nobz are going to be -1 to wound.
Actually, I would almost argue for Zodgrod being S tier, just because of that movement deny, which is going to be huge.
That's only going to work in that. You know, I understand your argument, but I'm not going to give ground on this one. I might let you force me on another one, but not on this one, because that's not loading into every single freaking list.
True.
It's just
I would put him above the pain boss for sure, though, and probably above the squid boss.
I can give you that one, no problems.
Top of A currently.
But yeah, so we're on the war boss now. The war boss, he has a ton of attacks in the WA phase because he adds +4 to his attacks. And he is going to be leading that unit of Nobz, making them at -1 to wound. He's actually a great target for the +2 to movement enhancement.
Yes.
He hits hard. He makes the Nobz tougher. Then the Nobz hit basically just as hard as they did last edition, just maybe a little bit less, but that's just because of the general AP changes in the game. It's real solid strategy, and it looks real good, and he's not that expensive.
Yeah, and looking at the numbers, you're going to take him with a Power Claw.
Yep,
that's just how the numbers work. His PPP on this looks green pretty much everywhere. he just doesn't trade well into like Termagants and Skitari. Other than that, he's great.
Exactly. All right, next up, we're going to look at a Pain Boy, not the Pain Boss. Now, the Pain Boy,
Oh,
interestingly enough, is really freaking good now.
yeah. I was more hyped for him before I saw the points, though.
You know what? I
80.
agree. I agree. I agree. We can put him down in B. But here's what this guy does. He's going to give a 5-up Feel No Pain to your Nobz, and then once per game, he's going to regenerate D3 Nobz.
Yeah.
That is
That's
game
once per
changing.
battle, but yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's what I
great.
said. Once per game.
Oh, yeah.
Once per game, once
It's
per battle. It's game
it's so
changing.
good.
It's a
I just
great
wish he
combo.
was cheaper. And
I
here's why.
don't disagree with you on that one.
No, here's why. His melee is awful.
Yeah, but I mean, his melee is not why he's been taken.
No, exactly. It's just the revive. You're gonna have to see how well the meta can handle if they can wipe into the Nobz or not. That's gonna pretty much determine his value.
Yep. All right. Then we have the solo mech. Solo mech is actually very, very, very freaking efficient if you're going to be running vehicles.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Yep. I don't see any vehicles I would put this on. That's the problem for me.
I see one, and I think we'll get to it. But I understand the argument. I'm even comfortable putting him down in C, and it's not because he sucks. It's because the things that he buffs aren't necessarily that great. Because it only his buff of +1 to hit only applies to one vehicle model, not a vehicle unit. If you could drop him in with a unit of Killicons, woohoo! But you can't, sadly, because it only applies to one model.
Yeah, it's a shame, but it is what it is.
Yep. Then we got the shock attack gun.
I like this guy
I do too.
And here's why. I don't give two rats about this damage output. I want the forced battle shock test.
Oh, yeah. Forcing a battle shock test is absolutely bananas.
Yeah. I would say top of B or bottom of A.
I'll throw... yeah, okay. Keep going. Sorry.
Because the thing is, this is a way for us to deny fight interrupt, heroic intervention, or fight on death stratagems. Or just defensive stratagems. Say if you're playing the mirror matchup and you're not going to charge Nobz, battle shock them and make sure they can't use -1 wound, for example. Being able to force battle shocks is such a valuable ability, in my opinion.
Battle shock is crazy important, guys. Especially when you start fighting Necrons and you're starting to realize that it's very easy for them to resurrect over 20 Necron warriors in a 20-man blob a turn. Like very easy. You'll understand how powerful battle shock actually is.
Yeah.
So this shock attack gun, he also has the benefit of giving reroll 1s to hit to the unit he's attached to. My preferred target for that unit would probably be mech guns, actually. I think mech guns are looking pretty spicy this edition.
I'm kind of we'll get to them. I think I like more him giving himself when he's leading the unit.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it's that's fair. We'll talk about it later. But yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Then we got. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I would say bottom of A, honestly. Just forcing battle shock. This is the one of the two sources we have of forcing battle shock in the entire army.
I'll give it to you, sir. All right. Then we're gonna look at Mozrog Scragbad. All right. I'm just gonna take Mozrog Scragbad because this is my love child here.
He's great.
This dude is a freaking manimal. Holy crap, Mozrog is a beast. T10. You're going to spend 1 CP to make a -1 to wound. He has a 4-up invuln, and he has a 4-up Feel No Pain. He won't die. And then you're using a Pain Boy or a Pain Boss to heal him 3 wounds every single time. He's not going to die. However, he is going to kill any vehicle monster that he goes into, because he's flat damage 3, and he's going to be +1 damage against vehicles and monsters, and he's going to be +2 damage against Titanic units. Then his big Champas, so his big squig that he rides, is actually going to be damage 4, and it's got the devastating wounds, and it procs on a 5 to wound instead of a 6 when he charges. Which means that if you go into a Titanic unit and you roll a 5 to wound, that thing's just dealing 6 more to wounds immediately. This guy is a total beast. He is 195 points, which is actually only 10 points more than it was in last edition, and he's way better than he was in last edition. Dude, he's awesome. I actually don't necessarily... I would like to see him a few lower points dropped a little bit, but that's just because I think overall orcs are just generally slightly overcosted. But he is freaking amazing.
Yeah. he's got to get into a big tank thing in order to get his points worth. When we look at the points per point killed, he doesn't trade well into medium vehicles or infantry. He really needs to go. He can do quite decently against Alaris Terminators, but he really wants to go into knight equivalents, kind of that tough vehicle.
Yep. So we just had a quick question. Dave Mack, he said Termies don't benefit from cover, he thought. Well,
They do.
they actually do benefit from cover, but the way the cover wording is ruled is that it cannot improve you beyond a 3-up save, right? So essentially what that means is it means that you're going to be ignoring one blip of AP if the AP is AP2 or higher, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So it's just taking in the wording of it, so no one gets confused. If you have a 3-up or a 2-up save, you don't get benefits of cover against AP 0.
Exactly. So you definitely still get the benefit of it. It's just worded a little weirdly. So yeah, termies and cover are definitely a thing. I think that was yeah, we got some special characters we have to talk to. Maybe we need to go through some of these a little bit faster. So let's do the War Boss and Mega Armor. He sucks. He's not going to be taken.
No, he's awful. Too few attacks, and Phenom Pain doesn't really matter.
No, he's just terrible. We got the Weird Boy. He's awesome. Sadly, he'll never be taken because he can only go on boys, and boys suck.
Yeah. So probably I'll say C tier just because he has a teleport.
I'm not really gonna put energy into that one. So you get it based off of me just not wanting energy. Boss Snickrot has a very, very cool ability. Mr. Snickrot.
My favorite.
Yeah, he is very expensive, but he does give us a really cool utility. He lets us teleport a commando unit once per game. And that is pretty freaking awesome, actually.
I'm saying S tier on this guy because he hits hard. He hits really hard, and his damage potential and points per point killed, his math is looking amazing.
I mean, you're not taking him in every list, though. I mean, he's expensive. He's like
I am. Oh, I am.
All right, for Felix, he's S tier. For everyone else, he's A tier.
I'm included. No, and here's the reason why I want him in every list. He is our new sniper. We don't need. We want to spend CP on our stratagems, not the precision stratagem, because we have awesome stratagems. Having the guy who can teleport, which is great for scoring, and also removing something like a Technomancer from Necron Warriors. And he's just such an efficient sniper, hitting on 2+ with exploding hits, and then re-rolling all wound rolls.
The having damage wound rolls is a very big deal in this edition, by the way.
Yes. I'm taking this guy in every single list. He has such utility.
So he's definitely way more usable than he was in last edition, because last edition you could only take him in Blood Axes. So we love Snickrot. He's a beast. We got Captain Badrock.
I love this guy.
He's not actually staying in D. I just need to place him for somewhere there for me. If you are taking a Flash Git meta, he's required.
Yes. Given the hit rerolled Flash Gits, he himself trades decently, but Flash Gits with his reroll trade nuts. We might as well do the Flash Gits at the same time, kind of.
Yeah, because they're the same unit, basically, because you don't take Flash Gits without him, you don't take him without Flash Gits.
We're going to take a 5-10-man unit with Badrock.
I don't really see where... All right, we'll just use his to... Oh, there they are. Yeah, so, I mean, Flash Gits, guys, why don't you go through the damage potential on Flash Gits? Sorry, we're skipping a little bit here, but it's just because this character literally is Flash Gits. So, why don't you go through their damage potential on this one?
Yeah. Here's the... So let's look at the numbers if we go to my infantry. Flash Gits, right.
You want to go on
so,
PPP or damage? What do you want me on?
Let's start with damage. So it might not look good at start. You're going to have to look at the... It's going to be with the buffs. The Amarant, which gives outwound on 6s. And then you have the Badrock reroll, and where's the closest target for extra shots. You deal between 1.1 and 1.9 damage per model. On average, that can spike quite hard. Looking at the PPP for them, they trade super well.
Let me get to it real fast, and then.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
The only time they don't trade well is with no buffs shooting at a faraway target that you can't really have as closest. They trade super damn well into any target, like pretty much any target.
Full rerolls to hit, exploding 6s. One turn per game. They're gonna get lethal hits on 6s as well. They're pretty nasty, man.
They're trading net positive against a knight.
Which is pretty impressive.
Yes.
It's not Flash Gitz meta though, so because it's you're gonna have one unit of Flash Gitz with Badrock.
I agree. At 10 mana, yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have a big. If you're running them, you're gonna run one big unit with Badrock, and that's gonna be awesome. You're gonna have a blast doing it, but you're not gonna be running 3 units of Flash Gitz. It's just that's completely not gonna happen, not competitively at least. Maybe you'll have fun with it in non-competitive, but they are really really cool. Thank you for running us through that damage potential of them.
Yeah.
Right,
is that all the characters?
No, we got Mad Dog Grotsnick. He's cool. He's in a C. Then we got Boss Zagstruck.
And we also have the Wartrike.
Death Killer Wartrike. Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I think he's a miss personally. Let's talk about these 3 right now. So let's do Mad Dog Grotsnick first. I like Mad Dog Grotsnick. I think he does some pretty cool stuff. He gives you a 5 Feel No Pain. He himself is actually pretty solid in melee, and he does give you the ability to fall back and charge, which can be extremely important in a game where once you are in base-to-base contact, you're in base-to-base contact. You don't get to do pylon shenanigans anymore in 10th edition. So the ability to actually disengage and re-engage in a better position is actually very, very powerful in 10th edition. So I like Mad Dog Grotsnick. I think he is one of the guys who's competing for a slot to go with Nobz, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you take him over the Pain Boy, because the Pain Boy lets you regenerate. But I do love the idea of fall back and charging again.
Yeah. The kind of issue with him in combat, with his damage, is without Wog, he doesn't really trade well for his points. With Wog, he trades pretty decently and sometimes good.
And as is often the case, we're not super concerned about his damage, though. It's more him giving the Nobz the ability to get away from a crappy fight. Like if they're stuck in with Necron warriors that they will never kill, you don't want to be stuck there.
Exactly.
So I think he's great, or I think he's quite good. Then we go on Boss Zagstruck. Zagstruck, what do you think about him, Felix?
He himself trades really well. The map looks good. He has a weird ability, I would say, which gives rerolls to charges from Deep Strike for Storm Boys. I'm having a hard time seeing where I want to use him. I don't know if he adds too much value compared to having just the Storm Boys. I'm saying top of B or somewhere in A, somewhere around that spot.
If you're going to be running Storm Boys in this new edition, which honestly, guys, you may not. You really may not because of the changes to fly. It's entirely possible you don't run them. But Zagstruck is a force multiplier for sure, and you will run him if you're going to run a unit of Storm Boys. In my works list, I'll probably run Zag and a unit of Storm Boys, is what I'm thinking. Because at that point, he's going to Deep Strike, and then you're going to use Ear We Go on them, and then they're going to be doing a 7-inch rerollable charge out of Deep Strike. It's very reliable. So I think I like him, but he is not the mandatory auto-include that he used to be.
Yeah, I agree.
And then we have that Death Killer Wartrike. I think it sucks personally, but you know.
It sucks. Just does way too little damage.
Doesn't do anything. His base is so big, you'll never move him around the map at all. And he can only go with War Bikers, who GW just kind of butchered War Bikers.
Yeah, the numbers don't look good, but then they don't do a lot, and they don't help us with the game.
Yeah. Because one thing I like to keep in mind when I'm building a list, everyone, is think of it like this way, okay? Just because you have a unit that's really good at taking care of, let's say, like, tactical Space Marines, or really good at killing Guardsmen, it doesn't matter if they're really good at killing Guardsmen or killing tactical Space Marines, because killing Guardsmen and killing tactical Space Marines doesn't win you the game. You don't need help with that. So even though Warbikers, yeah, they're fast and they could run through some of those screening units, you don't need a unit to do that because you can already do it with everything else. So I don't really care for Wartrike and the Warbikers, sadly, because they're pretty awesome looking. Okay, I think that is all the characters now. We got the Warboy, who is terrible, and you'll never take him. And actually, the knob with our WoW banner is actually kind of important to talk about.
Oh, right.
This guy is actually pretty cool. He's got a very unique ability. He's going to give us the ability to call a WoW a second time. which is really
For
cool.
one unit, yeah.
Throwing that on the knobs to have a late like a turn 3 extra hard hitting unit that can advance and charge can be really useful. Um, not so knobs as when we get to you'll see they're really competing for 3 slots. They want a war boss. They want either Grotznik or a Pain Boy, and they also want a knob with wall banner. So those leaders are kind of tied to the way that you're going to build your knobs, and they're all kind of reliant on the knobs because you're not putting them in with boys or anything else. But yeah, he does have a really interesting ability that I'd be interested to see how people use in the game.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't found a great way right now. There are combos, but the thing is, you gotta look at the unit and then, okay, I got several different ways to do this. I don't know which one is the better one yet. It's not bad. It's good.
Then we lastly we also got this custom force field.
Oh,
I think he's in C tier, man.
I agree. I
You
agree. I
know,
was gonna say three.
guys, his force field is cool, but it's like, what do you need it on? All your orc units for shooting, they have to remain stationary, and if you remain stationary, you're dead. So the only unit he can attach to and be effective on is probably the Met guns. And
The
honestly, if it's a Met guns, you're probably going to be taking the shock attack gun
and
instead.
the involve itself is not that amazing, honestly.
Nah, it's just. So, I'm not saying he's terrible. It's just there's really no one for him to give his benefits to. Okay, so I do think that is all of the characters. If we missed one, then we'll fix it, but I think that's all. Let's go on to our infantry troops. First one we got right here is the Commandos, sir. Commandos are looking pretty darn good, just like in last edition. I think you're required to have one unit, at least. But they're different because you can't take a 5-man anymore. It has to be the 10-man, which does mean you get all the weapons, which is cool. But
However, they have a super good ability.
Yep.
Which is they cannot be targeted by Overwatch.
They can't be targeted by Overwatch. That is such a big deal, guys, because Overwatch now applies to in the movement phase or the charge phase. So there's a lot more utility for Overwatch. So being able to deny Overwatch is actually freaking awesome.
And they're also -1 to hit.
They have stealth, so they're -1 to hit. And then when you put Boss's Agstruck in it, they would get the reroll wound rolls. Is that correct? Or
no,
I'm
they
sorry,
get the
Boss's
benefit of cover.
Okay. Boss
They
Nick
get the
doesn't
benefit
give
of
them
cover.
reroll wound rolls?
No, that's just on him. But he does
Okay.
give them benefits of cover always.
Okay, all right. So they don't hit nearly as hard as they used to, just because we missed out on the +1 strength from Goffs. But you do have special weapons now, so you have the Breacher Ram in there. You always have the Burna in there, and there's times where some of these things could have some utility. I think I'll probably be running one unit for right now, and see where it goes. But
Yeah,
I think you
you're
have
not
to have that one unit.
So you're always gonna have a bomb squig.
Yep.
You're not gonna take the burn, I think.
Don't you just automatically take it?
I
think you automatically take all the war gear.
No, let's see. Nope. Each one is equipped with a Stompa and Snagga, and then you can choose.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Fair enough.
And also the distraction grot on them. I love it. You just say during your opponent's shooting phase, just say, "No, my unit has a 5+ invul save now."
Which can be cool. It can be very cool.
Yeah, it makes them suddenly they're trying to trade into a almost as cheap unit with. They basically didn't go up in points at all if you include the war gear you're getting.
And
you just say -1 to hit and 5+ invul. Go ahead.
And they are infiltrators, which is really, really, really important to pre-screen people. So they're they are infiltrators. Yeah. And remember, when Snickrot is with them, he's going to teleport them once per game. So they give you a lot of utility. I think you have to have at least one unit. All right.
I agree. One unit, yeah.
Next up, we have Storm Boys. Storm Boys, we already basically spoke about them with Boss Zagstruck. One unit of Storm Boys can be quite good with Zagstruck. I don't think you're ever going to take more than one because they went up in price. They lost the extra point of strength from Goffs, and now they die when they charge.
Yeah.
And they lost their auto advance 6 inches as well.
Yeah, no, their advance thing right now is it's advance and charge. But god damn it, it hurts them a lot now because you roll 1 die per model. I kind of wanting Snake Rat in S tier because if we take the commander unit, we gotta take him.
I'll give it. All right, that's fair.
I mean, we'll take a commander unit and not take Snake Rat.
I'm with you on that one. That's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Storm Boys, I can see one unit being quite good. I can see an argument for them being an A, but they're definitely not what they were last edition, which is why I'm going to keep them down here in B, I think.
Yeah, last edition they were super fast. You put them either in vehicles for 21-inch movement, or you had them in L shapes and said 18-inch movement, and just wait for them to move up, and they kill stuff.
What
They're
do
gonna
you?
be utility.
Yeah, and we would love to hear what you guys have to say. Type it into the chat what you're thinking about the Storm Boys. I can even understand an argument for two of them because they do have
Yeah,
access to advanced charge, and that sometimes you just have to do it. But I don't know. I'd like to hear what you think. I think they're in B tier. I think Felix agrees with me there. We'd love to hear
I
from
do.
you guys in the chat box though. All right, next round of infantry. Are these just boys right here? I think. Yeah, I think those are just boys. Those things are not good.
No,
They're just not good.
they're not great. They're cheap. I'm thinking about including one unit, and this is just how I'm seeing it.
Hmm.
I can attach a shock attack gun to them, because I was looking at the shock attack gun and what do I want to attach him to, and I was looking at mech gun, and mech guns are gonna be hard to get through obscuring, getting hold of in terrain, and the mech gun is very slow, so I don't like that with a shooting platform like that. And Lootas, I also mapped the hit reroll you would get from Lootas, the full hit reroll on him. Doesn't do a lot.
Nah, Luda suck.
Then I looked at the other units and he just didn't fit. But the boys, I'm like, okay, I can move him up like a second wave of the boys for some, because they're cheap. There are gonna be some wounds there, and he's gonna put some battle shock tests out, and they're cheap unit that protects him, and I can ride him up in a wagon. In a truck.
Wouldn't that have him hitting on? Because his ballistic skill is 5.
Yeah, so with
He has
his
the
fives.
Yeah, so
But he rerolls once by himself when he's leading a unit.
that's fair. Okay,
So
and that should give him 1 hit. All right.
yeah, because you're having d6 plus 1 hit, and then you have a war gear ability
That
to
is
once per game re-roll the shots.
that is an expensive delivery mechanism, but I can
Yeah.
understand the argument for why they're C.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, the boys themselves are in C. I'm just taking them as ablative wounds.
Yeah. I'm following your process here. I
Yep.
like it.
Yep.
Okay, let's look at these mega knobs here.
We do have a comment about the Storm Boys in chat.
Oh, do we? Oh, we have a future on that. Sorry, guys, I missed some of these.
Let's see. Disappointed the Storm Boys have to roll for each model, but advance and charge is always handy. They aren't going to be killed. Yep, definitely. And someone thinks they're too fragile. Losing the auto advance 6 makes them unreliable. It does.
Yeah.
And also, we also lost the here we go and everything, so we don't reroll charges. They're not going to be the Cowbanga unit.
That's why I was thinking you're going to take the one squad that's going to deep strike and charge with Zagstruck. It's generally my thought process. So that's cool to hear that you guys are thinking the same.
Yeah, I read that. I'm looking at taking a 5-man or 2 for utility in deep strike.
Yeah.
To get where I need to be and be annoying. I still need to experiment. I think I might end up on taking 1 only.
We'll see how it goes. All right, now we're on Mega Knobs, everyone. Mega Knobs are not terrible, but they're not great. I struggle to see if they go B or C, and since we have less units in C, I think I put them at the top of C. Personally,
I'd say B, and that's just because of the Mega Mach combo. If they have mortar wounds, it's bad. If they don't have a lot more wounds, it's good.
Well, here's my thought process on it, and then let's decide. Okay, but here's my thought process. The C tier are units that are just not that great, but if they fill a specific role, maybe you take them. And in my brain, the Mega Knobs can actually hold an objective like it's no one's business. Because they actually are pretty dang tough, especially when they run that Mega Mech. So they are filling that very specific purpose. But otherwise, I would never take them.
Here's the thing, we gotta put them next to the Mega Mech either way.
Then I think we drop the Mega Mech, personally.
I'm looking at the unit of 2 or 3 Mega Knobs, and that's I have one reason for this.
Mm-hmm.
With the prevalence of indirect fire now,
mm-hmm.
I can't always leave 10 grots on my home field objective. I can, however, leave 2 or 3 Mega Knobs and have them stand there and hold it against that.
Oh god, they're only utility. Oh, that is the C-est argument I've ever heard of. Because I need something to leave on my home field objective.
Yeah.
Oh man. Sorry guys. If you love
if
Mega Knobs.
If they don't have the indirect, I'll put them in a truck and move them up, and they'll do all right.
Yeah.
They have a purpose, but they're not good. I'd say bottom of B tier, maybe.
They just don't have any damage output. They have too few attacks, hitting on 4s. They're just it's brutal.
I I would say bottom of B because they have a purpose, not a great one. C would imply they're just casual. I can see them in competitive lists. Not a lot, not as it used to be, but they have. I
I
think they have a
gave
role.
you your Snickra. I'm overwriting this one. All right, so let's look at Gretchin. Gretchin are awesome and mandatory. Boom.
F tier, yeah,
Done.
definitely.
Guys, we have the best strategies in the entire freaking game. You need CP, and Gretchin give you the opportunity to get extra CP in the game.
I'm looking at 2 units of Grotz in every
I
list.
agree. The one that's going with Zodrog, and then a bonus one, or just
Yeah.
2 natural if you're not bringing Zodrog.
Yeah, I'm thinking a 20-man with Zodgrod and then a 10-man.
It sounds perfect to me. Nerf, he asked, even a unit of Mega Nobz running with Gaz, still bad? Well, yeah, so the problem with that is, like, you're only going to have 2. Or, I mean, you can take the full 6, but that is going to be expensive, and you're
And
not
put
really going to
Slug.
be able to move them anywhere, and they're not going to be dealing much damage, because you would have to slug them at that point. They can be a little bit faster if you use the Here We Go strat on them. So I'm not saying it's unusable, and if you run them with Gaz, they definitely get better. For sure, because they're going to get the +1 to hit, they're going to get the +1 to wound. So they're basically going to be wounding everything on 2s in the game. And it does make them a little bit better. But it's just hard, man. It's just hard. By themselves, they're in C. With the mech, they're in C. With Gaz, maybe you could put them in B. But that also would require a Gaz, which is a huge points investment.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
There we
yeah.
go.
Then we looking at, think these are Burner Boys? Burner Boys are looking good, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna say next to Flash Gitz, A tier.
Yep, I agree with you. I probably personally won't take Burner Boys because I'm not going to use them in my list, but I understand the argument for them, and I think they're looking quite good. They get the full wound rerolls on objectives, when they're targeting someone on objective. I think they definitely have some good stuff there.
Yeah, they're mostly usable with the one idea I got. The first idea was to move them up, jump out of a vehicle, a truck, of course, shoot something on an objective, full wound roll, and then in the opponent's turn when they have the movement phase, when they put something new on said objective, you overwatch them.
Mira and Hart asks, so double leaders on the boys doesn't help them make them any good at all. So boys are in C because they do have some utility, right? And they're not like unusable. But if you put double leaders on them, suddenly that's a very expensive unit that's not killing anything and will die to everything.
Yeah. Boys just struggle because they're competing with Snagga boys. The ability boys got, I was hoping they get sticky objective or something. The ability they got with killing one model to re-roll the battle shock, that's not good.
It sucks. I mean, you could put a war boss in them, and that does require a war boss with them, by the way. So you can put a war boss and say a weird boy with them so that you could teleport them. But what does that really do for you? It gets you a big unit that's not scary, that's going to die fairly easily, 9 inches away from the enemy.
I will also add with the boys, when I'm taking a shock attack gun mech with them, I'm taking one boy with a rocket launcher.
Yeah, rocket launchers actually got better.
Because it's free as well now. We have a new question. A couple of questions about Gretchins. Is playing 3 groups of them pushing it too far with all the indirect? If you have 3 Grouts on objectives and roll 4 plus them, do you gain free CP or just 1?
Great question.
So, yes.
Great question.
So let's start with the CP one. It's maximum 1. How it's having more Gretchin on more objectives, or having more objectives with Gretchin is a better way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Just increases your odds of getting that 1 CP.
Yeah.
You have more chances. See it as a re-roll kind of thing. And this is also per objective. So if you have 5 units of Grotz on one objective, that's just 1 roll still. This is for every objective on the game in the game that has Grotz on them. You get to roll 1 die. And if you get a 4+, you get the CP. So having Grotz on more places, you just increase your odds.
Yep.
Now, the number 3 groups of them pushing it too far, I would say so, because they are 7-up save unit. They are cheap, but I'm thinking the Zodgrod unit is gonna move up, probably touch some objectives and move block. The other 10-man unit for me is gonna sit home and hold the objective and farm CP. I have a hard time seeing a 3rd unit survive in the middle of the field.
So we had another question on why are Commandos S? Guys, remember, an infiltrator unit gives you so much ability to play the mission because you can just start on an objective. So
Yeah.
if you guys haven't taken a look at some of the new mission objectives, I'll be releasing a video on them later this week, actually. But there are some missions that it's always sticky, right? So you could just start on the objective. There are some missions where you have to burn objectives. There are some missions where objectives magically disappear. There are some missions where you don't even score points for holding objectives at all. So 10th edition is a completely different game than 9th edition was when it comes to mission structure. Having infiltrators gives you the ability to move block. It gives you the ability to screen out their infiltrators. It's just so necessary. And then when you put
Yep.
Snicker out with them, they get to teleport like we spoke about. And
Yeah.
I also want to mention one more quick thing before we moved on. This is all in the context of our index. So when you're saying it's a shame the boys suck, well, in all reality, right? Yeah, now they do, but we don't know what happens when the codex comes out, right? So don't feel too bad. I mean, maybe you have 6 months to 8 months to go until our codex comes out, and then maybe suddenly the boys are great again, right? So this is just for right now, and it's in the context for current index hammer. So it's possible this stuff changes. Don't get too down on yourself. Don't go sell all your boys. Don't go sell all your models that aren't super competitive. Because right now, what we're seeing is we're seeing a bunch of models right now that we wouldn't have used back in ninth
Yeah.
edition. So it comes around. So don't feel too
Yeah.
bad if some of your favorite models aren't great. They'll have their time. I promise you.
Yeah. So yeah, what comes around goes around. Okay. Flash Gitz is the perfect example. They've been trash for 6 years, and now they're good again.
They're
Um,
really good, actually.
and remember, 10th edition now is a scoring game. We want utility.
Yep.
We're not a kill the army anymore. We gotta have this context in mind. Everything you learned about 9th edition, throw it out the window.
It's
Forget
different,
it.
dude. And
It
don't
is.
worry,
It is.
we'll be drilling these missions to help you guys catch up. But woohoo!
Mm.
Okay, so let's keep going here. Let's keep going here. We have Lootas. Sorry guys, if you love Lootas, I love Lootas. I bought 22 Lootas with the concept of loading them in the battle wagon, and now I'm just putting them on the shelf.
I have a lot of
suck.
this. Can we actually bring up the
There's-
can we bring up the spreadsheet for them, please?
Yeah, this
it's
is
just
actually good for people
fun.
to see. Yeah, you're right. This is good. Let's look at
It's
the
just funny.
spreadsheet for these Lootas. Here we go. So I'm on. Let's go to damage.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
All right, so if you guys see all this red and all this yellow here, that's because they don't do anything to anything. The only thing that's worse than them is Tankbustas.
Yeah.
They hit on sixes.
Honestly, Tankbustas do more. That's the fun part. Yeah, but even with all the rerolls, so if we look at the bottom row, that's rapid fire, so it's their 3 shots per model, and it's versus an objective, so the hit reroll, everything. They're not doing anything to anything. So this is per model shooting. Excuse me. So it's not the entire unit, but if you're taking Lootas to kill 1 termagant per Luda, yeah, no.
Yeah, Ludas suck. And let's just since we're here, let's talk about the Tankbustas because
Yeah,
we're
let's look
right
at
here.
the PvP as well, because they
Not the
have
PvP.
some good. They have some good trading, but that's once they kill stuff.
And that's if they get their full rerolls and they didn't move, right?
Yeah. And it's because they're rather cheap, but the problem is they don't do damage.
At all. Oh, they can kill termagants, but it's like, guys, you don't need help killing termagants.
Exactly. You gotta look at what kind of role do these fill. Why did I buy 15? Yeah, you don't have to buy another tank buster in your life again. Congratulations.
Listen, Tankbustas will be good again, I promise. Just not for the next year.
In time,
probably.
in time. Tank busters, the big issue here is you're forced to have 5-man. Why is 135 points? I cannot tell you. But the big problem is you're forced to have 1 pair of rocket pistols, and you're forced to have a tank hammer.
Yeah, they're just sorry,
that
guys.
means there's just 3 rocket launches. So you have 2 things that wants to be in melee and 3 things that don't want to be in melee, and you have a squig bomb that wants to get close. They're just conflicting themselves, and they're expensive, and they're not doing anything.
Nerf 02 just had the perfect explanation for why you bought 15 Tankbusters, by the way, because they're great for kit bashing.
Agreed.
Sorry, buddy. I'm not trying to laugh at your suffering. I'm suffering too. I promise. This is a smile of pain.
Yeah, no, I am. I think I got about 20 tank busters and a couple of tank hammers. Most of them kit bashed, but yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Shame, but it is what it is.
Moving on. Let's look at the Nobz here. All right, guys. Nobz are freaking awesome, just like they were last edition.
I'm gonna say A tier.
Yeah, me too. I'm 100% A tier on there because you don't have to have them, but if you are going to take them, they're very efficient. They kill basically just as well as they did in the last edition. You're going to want to run, like we were talking about earlier, the combos are, you're going to take the Pain Boy, Mad Duck Grotznik, Wabanner, or the War Boss. And that's depending on your flavor. I might actually just my first list for with Orcs. I'm actually going to run 3 units, and I'm going to run one with the Wall Banner, one with Mad Dog Grotznik, and then one with the War Boss. And I'm just going to kind of see how they play, and then I'll play with it from
Mm.
there. They're
I'm thinking
very
of
flexible. Go ahead.
my personal favorite so far would be the War Boss, without having tested. For two reasons: one, he gives them +1 to hit, and two, -1 to wound. And the third reason, just the War Boss smacks.
Yeah.
He's cheap as well for 70.
There's a real story where you run 3 units of Nobz with 3 War Bosses.
So that unit is 180 points
Um,
for the 5 Nobz and the War Boss. That's 180 combined.
there's every reality where you do that. So it's not necessarily a bad choice. So yeah, Nobz are awesome. We love them. They're great.
Yeah. What we're gonna say is you're probably not gonna run 10 man.
That's
I don't
just,
think so.
I think
It's
I'm,
really
I think
expensive.
I'm gonna try it. If you are running 10 mans, you're probably gonna be doing that with the Pain Boy for the 5 Feel No Pain,
Probably.
and then the regeneration on it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's where the current thought process for me personally is. All right,
I
so
agree.
those are Nobz. Nobz are great. We love them. Let's look at the S tier unit.
The
These
this
Snagga
is
boys.
yeah. So these are right next to a Skipping Warrior, just shoving to the left as well.
Fair enough. Do, 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 do.
These guys are nuts.
They're so
And with the Beast Boss, they just you can look at the numbers later, guys, but they smack. And giving the history roll as well against monsters vehicles with a Beast Boss. So what you can do is also you can charge a unit close to a vehicle and position yourself so that the Beast Boss is behind stuff. So when you've charged and the Snag Boys has to do base contact, the Beast Boss can't, so he can set up himself close to a vehicle. And with that, he can pile in and fight that vehicle. So
Yeah.
while your Snag Boys are like hitting the important stuff, so you can split fire while not doing it, so to say. And the reason you don't charge the vehicle in that case is because the Snag Boys would have to base that vehicle.
Now, Beast Snagga boys, remember they're going to be. You actually can take those in 20 mans. I probably won't. I probably stick to 10 mans, but
Yeah.
you actually could run them in 20 mans. Beast Boss is going to be epic. Pain Boss is also going to be epic. I'm going to run one with a Pain Boss because I'm going to be healing up my Mazrak Scragbad, who you better believe is going to be every single list I run. That Pain Boss is going to give them a 5 up Feel No Pain, and he's going to regenerate D3 once a game, which is really powerful. So they have a lot of uses.
So the big argument for not running a 20 man is because you're going to run trucks, and trucks don't fit 20. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Rantomize, he wanted to know what's the best enhancement for War Boss with Nobz with Power Claw. Honestly, I am thinking their best enhancement is either going to be the fallback and charge one or +2 to move.
I'm gonna say the +2 to move.
Yep. Well, yeah. I mean, but those are the two. Those are the two that you're looking at.
Yeah.
Because fallback
Definitely.
and charge is really useful on your really kill units because you don't want them to get bogged down in trash. And +2 to move is great for getting them to where they need to be. So
Here's what I'm gonna say. If you have a War Boss, I would prefer the +2 to move. If you have a Pain Boy, I would love the fallback and charge because that unit is hard to kill
that's
and more likely to survive.
not a bad argument. I can definitely see that. That's pretty decent, pretty reasonable. Or run 2 War Bosses, one with fallback charge, one with +2 to move.
Or both. Have one unit with a Pain Boy, one unit with a War Boss. You can. I'm still considering if I want to run a 10-man Nob unit with a Pain Boy, and because that thing might be nuts.
But I think that ended all the troops. So here's the War Bikers, guys. We spoke about War Bikers a little bit earlier with the Death Killer War Trike. I'm sorry. I love War Bikers. I really do. I think the models are awesome. I think they're really, really cool. GW made their shooting worse and then made their ability something that makes their shooting better, which is still worse than it used to be.
Yeah. So they used to have a role of doing good bits or just move blocking. Here's the thing: they lost the Auto 6 advance, and now we can use the Grotz and Zaldskar to move block. They just don't fill a purpose.
I mean, the only way they can get their auto advance is if they're with the Death Killer War Trike, which, as we already said, it's just not good. The shooting
That's
is
a bit
nerfed.
expensive.
They don't have a -1 to hit anymore. Like they're not there to do secondaries anymore.
I don't like them at
you
all.
take them because you're playing narrative or you're playing with your buddies and you don't want to think. But honestly, I don't think they have much position in a competitive sorts of list right now. Sadly, and it's sad because I love them. I think they're super cool.
I agree.
That's going to be all of the infantry and all of those things. So then we'll go into the buggies. I don't think we're going to spend too much time on individual buggies unless some of you guys have questions. I think Cooper and I can basically agree that there's only two buggies worth talking about.
So let's. I think there's only one worth talking about actually.
So the squig buggy. Let's talk about because that's the one that I'm sure you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I can actually put the squig buggy in a B. I think it's actually quite usable. Its indirect is not good, but you're not taking it for its indirect.
Exactly. I'm saying bottom of B. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So it has some little bit of utility. You're using it to drive, get line of sight on something, and be hitting on 4s against infantry, right?
Yeah.
And maybe you can get lucky and kill 2 Desolator Marines with it once if you have to shoot the indirect. But that's what it does, and it can be useful. It can be quite useful, actually.
Yeah. It has a problem, which is it doesn't trade that well in points at all against targets.
Too expensive.
It really doesn't. And the damage is decent. You're gonna need to roll hot, but the points, I think it's too expensive to. I probably won't run a single one, and I just think it's too expensive.
Yeah,
now, Assault.
I think we agreed that it just went down to C.
Yeah, I think.
After
I think
just talking about it, but it is actually usable. It is usable, so don't throw away your Rocket Truck Squig Buggies. It's not actually a bad model. It's a little. If we saw that thing drop by 15 points, then I can see myself bringing that thing.
100, 105 points, definitely. I think the rest of the 3 buggies are D tier.
So which one is it? Is it the Custom Booster Blaster, the one that gives the -1 to hit?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that one has a bit of utility.
So I think it's or is it the Snazwagon? I forgot which one.
No, it's the Custom Booster. I'm getting up here.
All right. Because the Custom Booster Blaster, this thing. Yeah, let's make sure I'm saying the correct buggy before I speak, before I sound like an idiot here.
So this thing has, after it's shot a unit, it can give that unit until the start of your own next turn. The enemy unit has -1 to hit.
That is a really big deal, and that might be worth the points alone.
Let's see.
I would be strongly considering to take it to do that. It's not meant to kill anything. It's not meant to do anything else. It's meant to make sure that the one unit that's full of death and doom is going to be -1 to hit.
Yeah, I mean, it's just 85. It's 85 points. It could be worth it, yeah. Might be worth it.
Yeah, okay, cool. So we got the question on the Shock Jump Dragsta being cheap and being a teleporting sniper platform.
It's not.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. But then when Mr. Felix does the math on it, here, why don't we pull that one up? Because that'll be really good for people to see. As characters, let me open up our.
It does no damage at all. And then, to be fair, teleporting, it can't teleport and shoot. It just can't.
Because you have to advance in order to.
Yeah.
So it can't teleport and shoot. That's very true. So it does lose out on that.
It does very little damage, and the PvP is awful.
So here's the damage for the Shock Jump Dragsta. If you guys look at it, Felix, why don't you tell us what we're looking at here?
So we're looking at the custom shock rifle, and we're seeing against a Termagant it does 0.9 damage on average.
So you're gonna kill less than 1 Termagant on average.
Let's take one of the squishiest characters in the game, the Weird Boy. 1.6 damage on average.
It's so unbelievably bad, like.
And if we go to PvP and look at the custom shock rifle,
sorry,
this is also good.
I'll go back. Sorry, I was already moving on.
Yeah.
Let's go back. Here, you talk.
But let's look at the PvP, and it's devastating wounds, which is great, but the PvP is awful.
Wow, that's the darkest red I've seen on one of these sheets.
Yeah, you're kind of trading at the. Let's say, so if you're trying to kill something for it, you're just trading down. Like you're trading 8 times your value. If this unit is 800 points, you're killing something worth 100.
Bringing a Shock Jump Dragsta is actually like the biggest flex that you can possibly do, because you're looking at your opponent. You're saying, "Hey, I'm gonna play at 100 point, deficit just because you can't handle this."
It's such a terrible gun. With this, it's a shame.
Straight D tier, baby. Horrible. Yeah. Then we got what is it?
And this is with it hitting on. This is the worst part. It's hitting on 3+, and it's doing that bad damage.
So bad. The Snazwagon's also pretty bad. Is it as bad as the Shock Jump?
It's worse in my opinion.
Here, let's pull up this chart. I know I said I wouldn't do too many of these charts, guys, but sorry, this is just Mega Track Scrapjet. Just so you know, it's also trash. These are its numbers. It's also
Yeah.
horrifyingly bad. Boom Decker Snazwagon.
They
That's what
just
it is.
don't do damage, and they don't trade well at all because it's just the PvP. This is what you gotta look at when evaluating units. You gotta look at the damage and then PvP, not one and then not just the other. You gotta look at them combined. So if we're seeing low damage and bad trading potential, that's horrible.
Yeah,
And
nerf,
that's
basically
with all the buggies.
nerfed. Basically, yeah, we agree. All the buggies do suck. It's just the custom booster blaster and the squig buggy do actually have a specific role that they can serve, even though they don't do any damage. That's why we said that they are usable. The other ones are just pure garbage.
Yeah.
And I hate
Which
it
is
because the
fine.
models are so sick. But you know what?
The
In the Codex releases, maybe we get a Speed Freaks army where they're all like +1 to hit, and things change. We don't know. But for now, no, they're just
it's just bad.
bad. Mega Track Scrapjet does approximately 0 damage. It's slightly better in melee, and it's also just overall horrible.
So before anyone says, what about to make a +1 to hit? You're paying 45 points for that +1 to hit. The trading is not going to get better. It's going to get worse.
And these can only be taken in units of 1, not units of 3, where you could get +1 to hit to all 3 of them.
Right. Like if you're taking the Booster Blaster, you're not taking him for the damage. You're taking him for the -1 to hit.
Yep, that's his purpose. So that's sadly the way it is. The buggies are terrible this edition.
Yeah.
So far.
It can change.
It can
Points
change.
can always change. If they're like 45, 50 points, because they're still toughness 7 with 4 and plus save. If they become super cheap, then it's a different story. Right now, no.
We are starting to close in on it, and some of these things we'll kind of grease over, but some of these things we will be a little bit more in depth on. Real fast, the truck is awesome. Guys, the trucks are amazing. They're only 50 points. Holy crap, they're amazing. Take trucks.
It's the best unit. Up in the left corner, it's the one best unit we have.
Trucks are so good.
You're taking 6 in every list if you want to play competitive.
You're taking 6. I'm not taking 6, and I'm playing pretty competitive. But I understand your argument. Trucks are bananas good.
Yeah, up in the left corner, mate. That's the best unit we have.
So, I mean, I don't care. That's fine. Yeah,
I want that thing in the left corner.
They're just so cheap, man, and they can deliver anything. And remember, one of the cool things is that you confer your abilities to the vehicle. So if you have a scout move, suddenly the vehicle now has a scout move. And that's a really big deal. That doesn't work for infiltrators?
No, it does not.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool.
It's just this
that would be OP.
That would be pretty OP. Yeah. But the big thing about the truck being 50, nobody can trade well into it. If we're looking at points killed, nothing can trade well into this. Why? It's toughness 8. Yeah. Which means anti-infantry and infantry shooting, they need to dedicate anti-tank to this. There's no. And all the anti-tank in the game is on high-priced units. There's nothing that can trade well into a 50-point toughness 8, 10 wound unit with 4 plus save. And new Ramshackle, we forgot to mention that. Ramshackle isn't a rule anymore, but it kind of is. It's a 6-up invul, and it's on every vehicle we have.
Yeah, so nothing can trade into trucks except for Eldar, and we don't speak about Eldar because that is just a way to go.
We gotta say this combo. The Wrecking Ball is a...
Ugh. You're hilarious.
Good shit. So we have a stratagem called, everyone has this, Tank Shock. So when a vehicle is in combat, I believe it's charged or something, you can use one of its weapons and roll 1 die per strength on that weapon. And if your strength is higher than the toughness of the enemy you're doing this against, you roll 2 extra die. So often this is going to be 12 dice you're rolling, and for each 5+, that's a mortar wound kept to 6 mortar wounds for 1 CP. So on average, the truck is going to do 4 mortar wounds for 1 CP.
That's actually pretty cool.
It's
actually pretty
cool. The best unit we have. It's the one best unit we have, hands down.
That is actually pretty cool. All right, so let's move on here, guys. Stompa, legit. The Stompa's stat line legitimately is awesome. And when we were going through the original index without points, we were like, holy crap, this might be the best unit in the game.
And no.
And then we saw that it's 800 points.
I
When
think you and I, we talked about the points we wanted it to be. We're like, if this is like 500, 550, this could be amazing with Kareen as well.
it's
Because
looking
Kareen,
it's supposed to be like a knight, like Imperial Knights, but what we saw is that all the Imperial Knights, which are way better than, which are at least as good as the Stompa, all dropped 100 points, and then
yeah,
Stompa went up by points. So it's just
I don't
silly.
know.
It's just silly.
I don't know. It's the D tier for sure.
Yeah, it
It's
can't be used. It's so
compare it to a Yog, nice. Compare it to a Wraith Knight. We don't talk about
compared
the
to a
Wraith Knight
Wraith
here.
Knight. Oh my gosh.
We don't compare to the 24 Mortal Wound machine.
Nerf. I did buy a Stompa before the index, so so don't feel bad about almost doing it. I totally did. All right, Death Dreads.
I'm gonna say
Solid
low
B?
C tier.
You're going low C.
Low C. And that's because it can force Battle Shock.
Yeah,
C.
that's why I'm going bottom of B.
Oh, bottom of B.
Yeah, I'm talking bottom B here, man.
Oh, right. Actually,
So let's think.
It's Tempest 9.
It's T9. It's the one of the fastest walkers in the game because it's still movement 8. It actually does hit pretty hard in melee because it gets the exploding sixes.
Actually, now that you mention it,
it
looking
gets
at it,
advance in charge.
let's pull up the numbers and
Yeah.
check those.
Let's see,
that
best stat, characters,
could be something there.
Let's
Because if you're running 6 trucks and you have 1 or 2 Death Dreads, the target priority is hard.
Yeah, Death Dreads are. I think they're looking quite good. I think they're a little overpriced.
Oh,
but
I mean the damage.
I don't think they're
Let's see.
bad.
So looking at the damage for the Dreads, you're gonna take 4 claws.
Always
No
4 claws.
question asked. Yeah. It's looking good with
Yeah.
pure average damage. Should kill about 2 to 3 Terminators. Looking at the PPP, let's see what we got here. Because this might change my opinion. Okay, yeah, never mind. I like it.
Yeah,
It's
Austin. Austin. The Dragster math is terrible on literally everything in the game. There's nothing it's okay on. sorry if you
Yeah.
missed our rant on that one. It's real bad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
the
the-
Death Dreads are looking good, man.
Yeah, I've also done the math for how many claws you take, so you can see the comparison. Don't take the shooting guns; they're awful. If you pull up the PPP, it's so awful.
Yeah, the
but
PPP
before-
is not that great.
But for 4 claws, it is.
For 4 claws, it's actually looking quite good. And guys, remember what we were speaking about, the Battle Shock test? If you can make things fail Battle Shock, that is so unbelievably strong because stratagems and CP is so critical to this edition. If you can get them to not be able to use their CP, oh my gosh, you can
I'm actually-
crush souls.
You know, I'm actually changing my opinion on this.
Dude, I like them. I think they're good. I think they're a little too expensive, which is why I have them at the bottom of B. But if they went down from 150 down to say like 130, I'm popping them A.
Here's the thing. Okay, so it's forcing Battle Shock on one thing in D
Hey,
star.
Felix,
right?
would you mind defining PPP for us real fast?
Right, so PPP is points per point killed. So how many points you invest in a unit compared to how many points you killed. So if we gotta look at the average damage a unit causes, and it doesn't matter if it does a huge damage because if we're using a 500 point unit to kill a 50 point unit, that's a bad trade. So we gotta look at the average damage. Can it do damage, and then can it trade well? So we gotta combine those 2 things, and once we do, we can find good units. And looking at the numbers, I can't lie, Death Dread is looking good. And here's the one reason I'm thinking about taking it now again.
Mhm.
I'm gonna run 6 trucks. And if I run 6 trucks and 2 Death Dreads, you can't use any anti-infantry fire on any of them because it won't do anything. And this is gonna give choices to the enemy. Do I want to remove the Death Dreads with my anti-tank, which kill a lot of damage, and can give me Battle Shock, or do I focus the trucks, which actually hold my Beast Snaggas with Beast Bosses?
Yeah.
It's gonna force the opponent to do some really difficult choices, and they're gonna make them fast because these things are fast now. And they have a 2-up save.
And guys, giving advance in charge to your walkers is pretty solid. So yeah, I like them. I think bottom of B is a good place for them. If they get a little bit of a points cut, which is possible, because GW's actually looks like they're doing very good, responsible work about updating this stuff. That's very possible. Then I think they pop up a lot.
I would put them between the Storm Boys and the Grotsnik.
Yeah, that's cool. Fine.
Because it's better than a Battle Wagon.
Looking at Killicons, Killicons look good actually.
Oh,
I think I put them at the bottom of B actually.
let's see, Killicans. Because I have one big issue with them, and that's a lot of vehicle keywords. So if we're playing tactical missions and they drop Bring It Down, they're gonna score points.
Remember, point, but all right. So this, I'm really glad you just brought this up, Felix. So if you guys have not been playing 10th edition, the way you score points is really different now. Okay, so the way you build armies are not nearly as reliant on denying people secondaries anymore because very few armies are going to be taking what you call fixed secondaries. So you can take either fixed secondaries or tactical secondaries. Fixed secondaries are, say, you want to take assassinate and bring it down. So you can score a maximum of 20 points on each over the course of the game. But tactical secondaries, you draw cards, and every turn you can have different secondaries. All
Yeah.
right, and most armies will be taking tactical because it's
Yeah.
generally speaking going to give you a better scoring potential than fixed. So you don't have to worry about giving up points nearly as much as you used to. It still matters, but it's not nearly as big a deal.
But they're so expensive now. That's so if you're looking at this and you're comparing, because it's the same cost now, you're gonna have to take rockets because
Sure.
Warrior is free for some dumb reason. So you're gonna be forced to take rockets, and at that point, free kill cans, 150 points. That's exactly the same as a Death Dread. And I don't see myself ever taking kill cans over the Death Dread, because if I want to shoot the rockets, I might do mortar wounds to my own stuff.
That's not a bad argument.
It's just
I don't think
when I
they're.
compare.
Yeah, all right, I'll put them at top of C. I still think they've definitely got some use, but that was a really sound logic you might have just got me with on that one.
Yeah,
you have the
it's like,
slight risk of injuring your own units for
Yeah.
no reason.
I'm just looking at them like, why would I not take a Death Dread instead?
Touche, sir. Touche. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
And
give you
also-
that. You win this round, good sir.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at them, if they draw to bring it down, because I think these are not too hard to kill, that's 3 victory points per kill can dead.
Hey Felix, so we have a comment here. It says, "Do you have to
Oh.
make the roll?" It says you can make the comp roll. Can you can you read on that for me real fast?
You can roll one. Oh, that's true actually. And to be fair, yeah. Then again, and that's to ignore cover, which you're probably often going to do if you're shooting rocket launchers against Terminators.
Okay, John Smith, that was a really good point. Thank you. Killicons are either going to be at the bottom of B or top of C. I don't think that actually makes that much of a difference whether we have them listed at the top of C or bottom of B. But that actually is a really good point. Thank you for bringing that up. That does slightly unconvince me from Felix's argument.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think cons are usable. I don't think they're trash, but I don't think
No,
they're
they're
the
not
all-star. I don't think that they're the all-stars that they were from last Codex. I'm definitely going to be playing with them for sure.
Yeah. No, I don't think they're trash. I just, for me, it's just I look at them and I'm like, I'm gonna take a Death Threat instead.
Yep. So then we look at Met Guns. Met Guns' profile is actually pretty good. They can shoot quite well. You stack them with the Shock Attack Gun or the Custom 4-Field mech, and suddenly they're rerolling ones. And big difference, now with the Bubble Chukka, you get to see which profile you have before you select your targets, which is a world of difference. When we were looking at the math on it, it's either going to be the Bubble Chukka or the Custom Mega Cannon, and the Custom Mega Cannon looks pretty freaking solid.
Oh, actually, but the kill cans might. The Death Threat is only 8 wounds, and kill cans 5 each. So we're comparing 8 to 15 wounds. But that's actually a tough choice now.
We've moved on, sir. We're talking about Met Guns.
We have, yeah. We have.
We're talking about Met Guns. Yeah, cons are good. Death Dreads are good. We like them. Let's talk about Met Guns.
Yeah. So looking at, because now we got to pull up the math, because this is 4 different.
This is fair. We can pull up the math on these Met Guns.
Yeah, because this is gonna be how we decide. So if you look at the pure damage, they're all gonna be the same points. So PvP is not too valuable to look at here. We just need to look at the damage. The PvP is looking good for them. Don't worry. However, if we're looking at the guns, you're not gonna take the tractor cannon ever.
Ever.
They're just bad. It looks good. I know the Art of War stream talked about them and they were really solid tractor cannons, and I'm looking at the numbers, I'm like, no.
I love those guys, but they were wrong about that.
Yeah.
And it's okay. They're very good players. We appreciate them. They do a lot of great work. They were wrong.
Yep. So here's the thing. Smasher gun, you're not going to take. You have 2 options here. My personal favorite, the Custom Mega Cannon.
Sure.
But now the Bubble Chukka of all the different guns are usable because you actually roll for profile before selecting targets. And the actual different profiles are pretty decent.
Yeah.
But I'm still looking at the Custom Mega Cannon as it's quite solid.
It's one or the other, and when you attach the mech with them to get them to re-rolling those ones to hit, these guys can actually put out. The problem is they're really slow, so getting able to see what you want to see can be challenging. So you're going to be really good with your deployment for these.
I have one big issue with them though.
Yeah.
and it's the obscuring rule. Because it's not just the mechan, it's the entire crew. Everything has to be wholly within a terrain piece to ignore the obscuring. And that's a big footprint. So you're probably not going to run a unit. You're not going to run a unit more than one mechan, I think.
Depends on what types of battlefields you're playing on. So if you're playing on
Definitely.
WTC terrain, it's different than with GW open terrain. But yeah,
I think WTC will change a little, maybe.
yeah, I think WTC is gonna have to change a little bit, but we'll see how all that works out.
But on GW terrain, I can't see these work.
That would be quite tough on GW terrain. Honestly, anything shooting platform is gonna be very challenging on GW open terrain. Right.
Wait, we have a comment here about that. Let's go to him. So he doesn't think the Grot crew counts as part of the model. Here, let's take a look.
Ooh, Shu Rin coming in hot, baby. Keep us honest, sir. Keep us honest.
Let's take a look at it. See if we can find. The PDF is so slow.
You're so slow.
Yep. Here we go. Designer crew. Place the 5 Grot crew tokens next to each mech gun. Removing each time. Oh, they're using it as counting to wounds. Okay, so they're just tokens now. They've actually changed that. Never mind.
That's kind of cool.
I'll be corrected on that one.
It's still going to be pretty challenging to get them wholly on terrain, but that actually does make it a little bit easier. Thank you for bringing that up, bud, because we said wrong things. I don't like saying wrong things.
No, here's also the thing. They don't have a base, so you got to start measuring from the top of a cannon. It's actually quite long as a model.
Yeah, so that's the mech gun. I think he has uses. I think it actually got a little bit better this edition. But yeah, it can be a challenging model to use. Let's look at the Gorkanaut. I actually like this thing. I like Gorkanaut.
I can see why.
I think the Gorkanaut has a place. I don't know if... I think we need to talk about the Gorkanaut. I don't know if he's going in B or C. But he did come down in the points, which is really, really important.
Yeah, 295 now. So his melee is pretty good.
He is the one to receive the +1 to hit from the mech.
Yeah.
So his shooting is a little bit better than it is listed here, just because he will be +1 to hit, but it's still not good. But it will be a little bit better than this.
You're taking him for the melee.
Melee's solid. And remember, he gets advance and charge now in the wall.
Yeah.
I think he's good.
And he also have clanking forward, so he can ignore terrain.
Yep, he can ignore.
Yeah, so old fly basically.
He can ignore your terrain. If he does happen to blow up, you can move. You can also. Can he take advantage of the fights on Death Strat?
He can.
That's actually really, really awesome.
Here's another fun part. You don't always need a mech because walk turn he gives himself +1 to hit in melee.
So you don't have to have a mech on him, but I think you probably would take a mech just to be there to heal him also.
I'm gonna say you're gonna transport a mech inside of him in that case, and once you're gonna commit with him, and if you haven't wogged, you pop him out and you repair and get yourself +1. If you wog and he's gonna commit, you pop him out the turn after and give him the +1 again.
Yeah.
So that could be a combo.
I actually like Gorkanaut. I'm gonna try to run it. I'm gonna have to borrow one, but
I do own one, and I hope. I'm not sure if it's great. I hope it is. But I'm just afraid of Wraith Knight one-shotting it.
Dude, I'm not even gonna talk about Eldar. They're so broken and unreasonable right now. I don't even think there's any point in talking about them.
Agreed.
Then we got the Hunter Rig and the Kill Rig. Guys, you know me. No. The Kill Rig was my favorite model besides the V-Spots and Swigsor of the last edition, and I am retiring the Kill Rig. His special rule, if it was a little bit different, if it was on a 2-up, he gives 1 unit +1 strength and lethal hits. I can see the place for him. But one, he went up in points. He lost a ton of damage. He lost a ton of utility. The model sucks.
Yeah, it's bad now.
In 10th edition, remember, you can't end a movement on the center of an objective marker, which means he's basically unplayable. He's terrible. And I hate saying that because I love it so much. It's my favorite model in the freaking game. And he can't be used. The Hunter Rig, on the other hand, actually might have a place.
I'm gonna say C tier. It's still expensive, and I'm looking at. I'm gonna take trucks, but it's better.
I think you could actually use the Hunter Rig a little bit. Just it is cheaper. It does basically everything the Kill Rig does, and it does still give you the transport for your Snaggas and maybe a sneaky Beast Boss. I really hate that my kill rig doesn't work anymore, dudes. I really hate it because I love my kill rig.
Yeah, I own 3 of them, and I love them as well.
But it is the way it is. So we have
It is.
lost those for this edition. All the flyers suck except for the Wazball and Blastojet, possibly, and he also sucks. If anyone has any direct questions about the flyers, please bring them up. Otherwise, I think we probably just kind of move on here.
We're gonna put them all in D tier.
Yep.
The Jet is probably the one that has a bit of damage. Problem is, the things he kills, you can kill with Snaggas.
Yeah, it's like, so if you guys have specific questions about the flyers, type them in. If not, we're just going to keep moving. Then we have Defcoptas.
Again, we're gonna release the spreadsheets so you guys can look at the math on all the guys. All the things we say is bad.
Yeah,
we do have a reason.
Mhm.
Because we went over this a lot. We spent a long time doing this.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'll pin it in the comments after this video is posted, just so you guys can go and find all these spreadsheets. Thank you to Felix for making that available to everyone. You're a legend. And then we have Defcoptas. Defcoptas actually finally went down in points. They're still not good.
D tier.
But I think they are actually usable because the blast weapon the blast keyword is a lot stronger now. They did lose attacks in melee. They did go up a little bit in toughness. And things are generally slightly less killy now. So it's possible that you can find a use for them. I'm going to try to play around with them, see if I can make them work.
I think the numbers is just what didn't look well.
It's just hitting on 5s is just... It's trying to run a shooting army hitting on 5s is really hard, guys. It's just really hard.
They just don't do a lot of damage. Just so few shots.
They did go down fairly significantly in points, at least. So maybe there's a world there now. Maybe there's a world now.
Let's look at PPP. Yeah.
That's fast attack. I think we had it on.
They have one unit they might do decently against, and that's Terminators. And oh yeah, but Terminators in terms of trading, but they don't do a lot of damage. This is why you gotta look at both of those stats.
Yeah.
So it might go up with Blast, depending on how many Terminators. But
I feel you there. I've got like 8 Coptas, I think, right now, or 9 Coptas, and I love them. They're awesome models. Yeah. And they are better than they were last edition. So it is a move in the correct direction, but they're just not. Yeah. They're not going to make the cut.
It's just going from 2d3 to just d3 shots, getting Twin Link share, but it's just massive difference.
And actually, with that, I think that's the end. The only things we have left are Forge World models, and we don't have the stats on Forge World. So I think that is the tier list, everyone.
That is. Let's go over to see if there's anything we want to change, just the order of.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, let's do it. Cool.
So looking at S, I think we agree on the rank, so it's probably just the ranking in ranks. So if something in S is better than something else in S, for example, I'm pretty happy with how S tier is looking.
Cool.
A tier, I probably
I'm gonna bring this guy really far down because he's awesome, but you're only gonna take him sometimes. He's still good. I'm not taking him out of A.
Sure. I want to put the War Boss above the Pain Boss.
Interesting. Oh yeah, I can see that because he's gonna be running with the Nobz, and then I think I'll bring the Nobz up with him actually.
Yeah.
The rest of it looks pretty good. Maybe we could swap one thing, but it looks pretty solid.
Yep.
B tier. I think I'm pretty happy with B tier. What about you?
Let's see.
Maybe I'll put
No, I think I'd swap the Nob with Wog Banner, put him just above the Grotsnik.
Really?
The Wog Banner, yeah.
I'm not going to do that, but I'll do this for you.
Better than Batwagon, at least.
Yeah, I'll do that for you for sure.
Let's see. Killer Cans, I'm going to have to take a second look at. Maybe.
I think Killer Cans are actually pretty good, man. I think they're good.
I'm going to take a look at them again. They're 150. I can put them rockets on them, which is good.
I honestly don't think the order in C or D really matters all that much.
Not too much, no. There's still a 6-inch move. That's fine.
So Nerf has a good question for us. He's like, he wants to know, what are you guys going to see as absolutely must-haves for our very first list? For me personally, my first list, I'm running triple Nobz.
For my trucks.
Yeah, Cooper, you're not allowed to talk about trucks. So I'll be taking two Gretchin, triple Nobz, I'll probably be running a 3-man of the Squig Hogs with a Smash Squig. I'll be taking Zag with a 10 mana Storm Boys.
All right.
Um, and that's what I'm gonna have to start with, and I'll flesh it out from there. Probably be running at least 2 units of Beast Snaggas and Mazrok Scragbad. Yeah, there'll be a commando unit in there somewhere as well. And honestly, because our points went up in a weird way, that's probably most of the army. There might be 50 points to wiggle with after that, but that's generally what it's looking like.
Yeah, my start for an army right now is 3 units of Snagga Boys with Beast Boss in each,
Yep.
and 6 trucks. That's my mandatory. I gotta have this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the way. Oh god, George.
At least one of those knobs will be a 10-man. The other 2 might be 5s. I'm not sure on that one.
You're not gonna run 30 knobs. That's 660 points plus the leaders.
Don't tell me what I'm not gonna do. You don't know me.
It's a lot of points. I would say Power Claw is the best on knobs. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely Power Claws. Definitely Power Claws.
Yeah, my entire Speedwog sitting in C3 low. Yeah, a big problem with the Speedwog right now, I'll tell you right now. The damage is looking bad, but even if the damage was better, they don't play the missions well.
Yeah, so building to crump and score. So Yog actually has an awesome point here. I think you need to pick a path, because Orks right now, just the damage potential really isn't that amazing. So if you're going to be planning on doing damage, plan on doing damage. And if you're not, then don't worry about doing damage so much as just controlling the board and scoring.
Yep. I think the most competitive builds will be built to score.
Probably,
points.
probably. So I'll be redoing my list building video as well, because it's going to be very different in 10th. I'll have to play around with games for a little bit before I redo it, because I want to do a good job for you guys. But yeah, so Coop's gonna be spamming them trucks and the Beast Snag. Honestly, it sounds like we're both fairly similar. I'm just not gonna take 6 trucks. Maybe I take 2.
Yeah, it's gonna be some personal differences and trying things out, which is great. If we're all trying the same thing, we're not gonna find all the combos. Exactly. So it's great if we do difference. I like 6 trucks, and I'll have 6 trucks, and it's gonna be good. Spam. Is truck spam not a concern for bring it down? I wouldn't say so, because if they kill my trucks, they're not killing a useful unit.
But then the answer would be yes, it's a concern for bringing it down, but you don't care.
Sort of, yeah.
That's what you meant by saying that.
pretty much. You're gonna have vehicles, and if I have, they're not gonna kill a lot of trucks each turn. And if you're playing tactical, you're gonna have bring it down for 1 turn. So they might kill 2 of them. Because if they start to focus it down more than 2, suddenly you're not killing my good units.
Yeah. And guys, I really do think you'll be doing a lot more tactical than you will doing fixed, just in general. Orcs are actually probably going to be quite good at tactical. That Snickrot with the commandos is a really big deal there. Having Zagstruck in reserve to deep strike with the Storm Boys is a big deal there. We do have some actually pretty good shenanigans. To be able to control the board and score the game. I
think the best shenanigan for me is the tank shock with the wrecking ball. I love that.
That's pretty hilarious.
Yes. I will also say you might not run 6 trucks, not every list, but you're gonna have at least 1 truck per list. You can't build a list without a truck now if you want to go competitive, in my opinion.
Oh, I can do whatever I want. I'm an orc. I can manifest. I think Shaltastic just said, like a true orc, he's gonna will it into existence. I'll do the same, sir. All right, everyone. We love you all. You are awesome. My final statements is I think Orks they did lose some power. They're not as good an army as they were at the end of 9th. They are still good, and they're still competitive. I'm still going to be able to take them to GTs to do great. And do
We're a different army.
We're a very different army.
That's the main part.
Exactly. We're going to figure it out. Felix, closing words for you, sir.
Yeah, throw everything you know about 9th edition out the window and start learning 10th edition. I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna list theorize a bit more today and maybe play a game tomorrow. But yeah, just try to see the new index with an open mind and try and find ways to play the mission and how you win the game. Because we're not gonna be tabling armies, really.
Nah. All right. Well, that was awesome. Thanks everyone for your attention. We really appreciate having you here. We've got a lot more stuff coming out here. Now that I've been playing a few games, I've got a fairly good grasp on how it's working. I can actually pump out my tutorials It's just taken a little while to get used to 10th because as you guys start playing, you realize it's very different. Thanks so much for coming in. Felix, thank you for hopping on, man. I really appreciate this math and you just kind of keeping my head straight here. And thank you so much also for offering to put your data sheets out there for everyone.
No
If you
worries.
guys are not members, the Orc Discord is actually a great place for learning. Maybe I can try to put a link there as well. I know there's a lot of experienced guys there who talk all the time. Felix is on there. I'm on there. Yog is on there. So there's a bunch of people on there who've got a lot of utility when it comes to orcs. If you guys want to hear my thoughts on Custodes, it's coming up really soon in like a day. So pop in for that.
I'm guessing it's quite positive.
Bro, my golden boys are looking freaking good. George, we
Yeah.
appreciate you. And with that, I think we're going to take off for the day, yeah?
Yeah, we are.
All right, everybody.
Thank you all for watching.
Have a lovely, lovely day. And one!